Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast, your go-to source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We hope you tune in often for all things people management, organizational development and change, organizational leadership, and social impact related. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with Human Capital Innovations Podcast. Welcome to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. In this HBR Minute HCI podcast episode, I explore the recent HBR video, The Explainer, solving problems by starting with the worst idea possible. Welcome back to the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. Today, in this HBR Minute podcast episode, I'll be discussing the HBR video, The Explainer, solving problems by starting with the worst idea possible. Sometimes wrong thinking can lead to the right answer. There are many creative tools a designer uses to think differently, but none is more counterintuitive than wrong thinking, also called reverse thinking. Wrong thinking is when you intentionally think of the worst idea possible, the exact opposite of the accepted or logical solution. Ideas that can get you laughed at or even fired, and work back from those to find new ways of solving old problems. I'm excited to explore this brief video with you today, and I'll catch you on the flip side of this first clip.
Think of a challenge you're facing at work. Now, what is the worst possible solution you can dream up? Really, what is a truly terrible way to address this? What could get you laughed at or even fired? Got a bad idea? Good. This might just be the best idea you've ever had, according to designer and author Ayesha Bissell. Her concept of wrong thinking on purpose may seem counterintuitive, but it's a useful tool in the challenge to solve problems in new ways. Here's a central example how Bissell pivots a dreadful idea into a brilliant one. Switch jobs with, say, a junior staffer or intern. It may sound silly, but this humbling as-if scenario can put you into an inquisitive beginner's mindset and give you newfound permission to ask, listen, and learn things that an expert would assume they already knew.
The whole premise behind this approach is using wrong thinking as a means to get yourself outside of the box, to start to think more creatively. So we're not advocating that you actually want to pursue horrible ideas, that you want to use wrong thinking in a way to actually drive the end result, the end solution. But it's a process you can go through where you start to think about what is the worst possible way of addressing this issue, and then backtracking to the point where you can actually start to see things with fresh eyes. You can start to break down the assumptions or the things you thought you already knew about the problem, and then start to tackle it in a new, fresh way. So I think this approach to thinking outside of the box can really be quite helpful. And she's going to talk just a little bit more about how you might go about doing this. I'm excited to announce the publication of my new book from HCI Press, The Alchemy of Truly Remarkable Leadership: Ordinary, Everyday Actions That Produce Extraordinary Results. Consider how the nature of work has shifted over the past 50 years. With increased globalization, rapid technological advancement, and the shift in economic composition, the average job of today looks very different than the average job of 50 years ago. What will the jobs and organizations of tomorrow look like? Moreover, what does this all mean for organizational leaders? What are the core competencies and capabilities of organizations and their leadership that are prepared for continued disruption and geopolitical and socioeconomic shifts? Regardless of what the future holds, increasingly, leaders need to be socially minded, data-driven, decisive, champions of talent, and disruptors of the traditional notions of leadership, teams, organizations, and work. The alchemy of truly remarkable leadership will help you to explore your own leadership competencies and capabilities and consider ways to apply and implement them into your workplace and personal life. I'm excited to share my insights with you.
Likewise, while you're playing the role of novice, your junior employees are trying your job on for size. They are now empowered with fresh agency to search, experiment, and possibly discover new directions altogether without the expected hierarchy blocking the way. How about this horrible notion? Spread rumors about your colleagues. If you flip the idea on its head to spreading good rumors instead of negative gossip, it could be an inspiring way to collectively celebrate their strengths. Maybe try failing intentionally and repeatedly. Sounds like a nightmare until you pivot it to a deliberate mistake lab dedicated to celebrating and learning from failure.
I love this idea of a deliberate mistake lab where you can learn in an iterative process of repeated failures. But where you're reframing those failures as learning opportunities. When we are able to fail and able to learn from our mistakes, that's actually the process of innovation. Because very rarely does that first idea for innovation actually take. You have to refine it. And so a failure lab, one where you can actually go through that iterative process in a safe, productive way, can really be a great outcome. And that's just one example. She gives several of how we can flip our thinking on its head when we start to conceive of the notion of a worst possible idea and then flip it and try to understand, well, what could this actually mean for us as being a new way of attacking a challenge or a problem?
Not only could this be a great tool to get over your fear of failure, but it can reinforce that we learn constantly by turning bad ideas into great ones. Banning technology at work sounds counterproductive and pretty impossible, but having a no technology day once in a while could remind everyone of the importance of face-to-face conversations, walking meetings, even meditation without interruptions from email and social media. Go ahead. Give yourself permission to have an awful idea. The very best one might just emerge along the way.
So give yourself permission to have awful ideas. Now, this isn't, again, to say we're not suggesting that you take bad ideas and deliberately run with them when you know they're going to be failures, simply to run with a bad idea. It's using your worst possible idea, your bad ideas, in a way that then can help you get out of your previous frame of thinking and start to explore new approaches and new ways to deal with complex challenges and problems, and giving yourself the permission to not know the answer and to even fail in an iterative fashion. That's so very important to drive innovation within our organizations. And if we want to collaborate more effectively across areas of our business, we need to create a safe space where people can cooperate, where they can take risks, where they can even fail, but fail forward, fall fast, fail forward, and have the opportunity to learn from those mistakes and build from them. So building off of your worst idea, getting you outside of the box, helping you to reinvigorate your creative thinking. I love this idea. I encourage you to test it out, see how it works for you. Thanks for joining me for this HCI podcast episode. As always, I hope you stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day, and I hope you have a great week. We are excited about the launch of HCI's new magazine, Human Capital Leadership. Human Capital Leadership is a free, interactive e-magazine designed to help individuals, leaders, and organizations find innovative approaches to maximize their human capital potential. We will be publishing issues quarterly in August, November, February, and May. Check out the first issue and let us know what you think. Thanks again for joining us for this episode of the Human Capital Innovations Podcast. I hope you stay healthy and safe and that you have a great week.